We'll be discussing very important set of topics with her. But before we go there, I need to give a formal introduction about Pallavi Singh. She is a seasoned AI and data transformation leader with deep expertise in enterprise data platforms, advanced analytics, and responsible AI. Most recently, she was the executive director of AI and data at Evidence India, where leading enterprise-wide data modernization and AI strategy, building a 180 plus member global capability center and driving AI healthcare insights. She has previously worked at Novartis, Franklin Templeton, and DXC Technology. She has delivered impactful analytics solutions across healthcare, finance, and enterprise sectors. She is known in the industry for combining platform strategy, governance, data science to build scalable AI ecosystems that enable smarter decisions and improved outcomes. Thank you so much, Pallavi, for joining us. Extremely grateful to have you on the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Rishikesh, for having me. And I really appreciate your flexibility with my schedule. I know it took a few changes from my side to finally make this happen, but I'm really very excited to be here and looking forward to have a great conversation on AI.
Thank you so much, Pallavi. And now, the first question, which is a very interesting question, is that you have driven AI transformation that resulted in measurable billion-dollar impact. Can you walk us through one initiative where AI moved from idea to enterprise scale reality and what made it successful?
Okay. So, you know what, Rishikesh, when people hear billion-dollar AI transformation, they often imagine some complex algorithm or a breakthrough model. But if you ask me, in reality, transformation rarely starts with the technology. It starts with a very simple question. In one initiative which I worked on recently, the question was, why do organizations with enormous amount of data still struggle to make fast and confident decisions? So, every team has access to their dashboards, reports, they keep building the insights on that. But all of a sudden, if a sales leader wanted to understand the health of a customer account, or when a customer success manager wanted to understand where the churn is happening and how we can prevent it, he may have to run through different systems. So there are different CRM system, different product uses, dashboard, different email internal documentation, which exists today in the organization, but it is all fragmentation. So that's where we flipped the business problem. Instead of asking how do we build better dashboard, we asked like, what if AI could act like an intelligent assistant that can understand the overall context of the business and helps people make decisions in the real time? And that is the idea that led us to build an enterprise AI Copilot powered by a large language model. And the vision of that solution was very simple. What we wanted that the employees could ask the questions in a natural language, the same way how you and me are communicating, right? For example, now if a sales executive wants to know, he can just directly go and ask, give me a quick summary of this account and what are the biggest risks associated with it. What would be the next best engagement strategy that could work for this account? Behind the scene, the AI would pull the information from multiple sources, including their customer interaction, their products usage patterns, their support cases, and the contract details. And that can synthesize into a clear, actionable answer. So I would say what made the system truly transformative was when we introduced the agentic capability. So instead of just answering questions, we built a system where AI could take the action. And actually, what has moved here when AI moved from analysis to participation in the workflows, that's where the adoption skyrockets. So now, technology, I would say, just one part of the story. But what really made the initiative successful were three things. First, we should focus on real business outcome, like things like improving the retention, increasing the sales productivity. Secondly, we should always focus on this solution, how we can embed the AI directly into the system people who are using this every day. So we don't have to go and build different separate AI tools. The intelligence should come directly to their desk. And that's where the third and the most important thing, that it's very important to build trust. So all this model, the AI LLM is good, but trust is critical. So we implemented strong guardrails, explainability mechanism, human in the loop validation. And so people understood where the insights are coming. And that is one of the initiative which has turned into billion of dollars of saving, where the organization is stopped thinking about AI as something that can produce reports, but they start thinking about AI as a collaborative partner for the people that can help people to think, decide, and act faster. So to me, that is the future of enterprise AI.
That was pretty insightful. You have built and scaled global AI and analytics team to more than 180 plus professionals. What was the biggest challenge in building these teams and what leadership principles guided your approach?
I would say that's a really great question because whenever people talk about scaling AI in organization, the conversation always usually focuses on either model or what kind of technology
Yes.
we should employ, right? But in reality, AI transformation is fundamentally a people challenge. So when I started building and scaling this global AI team, one of the first realization which I had that successful AI team don't look like traditional technology team. That is something we have to accept it, right? So in the past, analytics team were often structured around data scientists, those who are building models, and the analysts who are building reports. But today, especially in the era of large language models, generative AI, and agentic system, the problem is much more multidisciplinary. So right now, we are not just building a AI solution. We are building a modern AI solution, which is not about training a model. It's involved data engineering. How we gonna orchestrate the LLM into that? How does the overall product design gonna look like? What are the governance protocol we gonna follow there? And a very good understanding of deep domain knowledge. So one of the first challenge was bringing together very different skill sets into one cohesive team. And now there are different set of opportunity which exist in the market. So you just don't need the data scientist only. You need machine learning engineers. You need platform engineers, prompting engineers. The most important role which people doesn't talk even now is the AI product manager, right? So these different role we have to build together to create a successful team. And one leadership principle which I focus on was starting with the problem, not with the technology. So instead of asking teams what model should we build, we should always ask what decision are we trying to improve and how we will change the business operations. So that way we can continuously scale our global team through consistency while encouraging the innovation. So we invest heavily in building AI, not only in building AI model and reusable framework. Instead, every team reinvent the wheel where we create the shared infrastructure for data pipeline, model deployment, LLM orchestration, which allow the teams to move faster while maintaining consistency. So I would say in the AI community, there is often a temptation to build technically sophisticated solution. But the most successful AI initiative are not always the most complex ones. They are the one I would say where people know how people can work and decision can be made easily. So that is how when I look back at scaling those teams globally, what I'm proud of is not just the size of the team, but I would say the fact that the team were able to build AI system that genuinely influence the business outcome.
This was so well answered. And, talking about industries, so, you have kind of touched upon healthcare, telecom, life sciences, and financial services industries. What kind of remains constant when it comes to AI?
So the reason I smiled at this question because I feel that that is the one of the most fascinating aspect of my job, which I love about it. So whatever industry I change, right? See how the same technology gonna play out differently across industry is something which we have to learn. So as you rightly said, I have the opportunity to work very closely with healthcare, life sciences, financial services, and now telecom. And each of this sector has a very completely different relationship with data, risk, decision making. So naturally, the AI strategy has to adopt itself according to the industry. So, for example, I'll take an example to explain this. When I was in healthcare and life sciences, the biggest priority was trust and validation. So, whenever we are building an AI solution, it is involved in clinical insight, patient care, or drug discovery. So, the tolerance for error in those fields is extremely low. Right. So the focus is not just on model performance, but on explainability, regulatory compliance, and clinical validation. So even if generative AI and LLM, the architecture must include those strong guardrails, like things like RAG, things like human oversights, or the rigorous validation pipeline, because the outcome gonna impact directly those healthcare decisions, right? Versus now when I'm working currently at a telecom, these companies manage millions of customer interactions every day. So AI strategy there often focus on real-time personalization, how we can do the network optimization, how we assure that the customer experience at the most, right?
Yes.
What are the different predictive operation? So generative AI in telecom is increasingly being used to power customer service agent, automated troubleshooting, and sales co-pilot. that can help the team to respond faster and more intelligently. So the architecture often include a strong governance framework, model monitoring, and explainability mechanism. But what interesting to note here is that the whatever application gonna differ, there are several principles that gonna constant across the industry. The first one is data foundation. No matter how advanced the model is, whether it is traditional machine learning or we are building any large language model, its effectiveness always depend on the quality, accessibility, and governance of enterprise data, right?
Yes.
Because data is the base. I would say the second constant is alignment with the business strategy. So AI strategy generally start with technology, rarely succeed, right? But the
Yeah.
most successful transformation start once you have a clear business challenge. So what happened? We start with something and then we keep solving some other problem. So it's very important to align the business problem with your business strategy. And the third constant is something which I would say we are seeing even more today with generative AI, which people are scared. We are saying that, hey, AI is taking our job, but we are forgetting that until unless there will be not going to be human AI collaboration, which we call it as HITL, human in the loop, nothing gonna happen. So the
Wow.
most impactful AI system are not replacing human, they are augmenting them. So the most constant across industries, the organization change. So I would say it's about building strong data foundation, aligning AI with real business problem, and designing the system where human and intelligent machine can work together to make better decision, because that's really where the power of AI lies.
And can you share an example where advanced analytics or AI directly influenced a critical business decision?
Okay. So let me take an example that I'm currently actually working on. So this is a real example. I'm not gonna share any details about that, but overall at high level, that really illustrate the impact of AI on real business decisions in the telecom industry is about the customer experience and call center efficiency. Let me just like in order to correlate this business problem, we can just relate that with the Airtel, right? So telecom company always receive million of customer calls every day. And when we start analyzing the data, we have discovered something very interesting,
Mm,
that a large percentage of the calls which is coming from the customer to the call center are actually predictable in advance. So
mm,
customer were not calling randomly.
mm,
They were calling because something had gone wrong. For example, a customer might suddenly see an unusual high bill after traveling internationally, or
mm,
their data usage might spike unexpectedly, right? So,
mm,
resulting in charges that they did not anticipate. So, by
mm,
the time customer called the call center, the first frustration has already built up. Hey, why my bill is $20 more than the previous month, right? Maybe he was expecting maybe $16. Okay. So instead of focusing on how to answer those calls faster, if we can ask a very different question there, like what if we could predict why a customer is about to call us before even they pick up the call? So in order to solve this problem, we are building a predictive AI system that can analyze multiple signals across the telecom ecosystem, like things like network usage patterns, roaming activity, billing events, historical customer behavior, and service interaction. So, all these signals are going as an input to our model, which could identify the
mm,
customer who are very likely to contact the customer support in advance and the probable reason for the call. But
mm,
here is the twist. We did our job. We built a good prediction model that, hey, in next week, these are the set of the group of customers who are likely to call me, and for
mm,
so and so reason. But prediction alone does not create value, right? So the real transformation gonna come when we shift from prediction to proactive engagement. So for instance, if the system detect that a customer has started roaming internationally, right? And their data usage was rapid increasing. So the
mm,
AI could trigger a proactive message to the customer, and the message might say something like that, hey, we notice you are currently traveling internationally, and based on your usage, your estimated bill amount gonna reach this amount. So
uh,
to avoid the higher charges, you maybe want to activate an international roaming plan, which Airtel does that,
yes.
right?
Uh,
In any cases, the system would allow the customer to activate that plan instantly. So instead of the customer discovering the problem later through a shocking bill or a calling customer support, the
mm,
organization anticipated the issue and solved it before the frustration even occurred, right?
yes.
So, and today with the help of this generative AI and LLM powered system, these experiences can go even further. So instead of simple alerts, we are building an AI agent along with that. So these AI agent can interact with those customer conversationally, answer these questions instantly, even complete transactions autonomously. So the core idea gonna remain the same. The real power of AI is not just analyzing the data after something has happened. It's about anticipating those customer needs, predicting those problems, and solving them before the customer feels the pain.
Yes, this is a very good example. Like, it will always remain with me. Like, I can also give this gyan to somebody like who is implementing it.
Of course, predictive plus proactive.
Predictive to proactive. And Pallavi, you have implemented generative and agentic AI systems for sales, clinical intelligence, and automation. So, what practical lessons have you learned about moving from pilots to production?
Pilots production. I would say that is a very important question right now, especially when many organizations are going through what I would generally call this AI pilot explosion. Almost every company has experimented with generative AI. They have built the chatbots, they have built the co-pilots, they have built the small LLM application, and now the excitement is real. But the bigger challenge is how you gonna move from a cool demo to something that can actually reliably run an enterprise scale. Because building a demo and releasing in production are two different world altogether.
Yes.
So if I talk about from my experience implementing generative and agentic AI across areas, especially like sales intelligence or clinical insights and automation, one of the biggest learning which I have is the gap between pilots and production, which is really about the model itself, right? It's about designing the entire system around that model. So, the first big lesson, the LLM needs strong grounding in enterprise data. A general purpose model can generate impressive order, but inside an enterprise, a decision can rely on very specific knowledge. So, what kind of customer data, contracts, clinical documentation, regulatory guidelines or product information you're using, and then use the technique such as RAG and knowledge grounding, which become essential because that gonna ensure that your model is not hallucinating the answer, but instead of that, it's synthesizing based on verified enterprise knowledge. Right. The second lesson I would say moving from chatbots to agentic workflows. So many pilots start with the simple conversational interface, a chatbot that can answer your question, but
Yeah.
that rarely changes how work actually happens. So I have always faced this. I don't want to name the company, but there are few home delivery apps where if you're facing an issue, they have a chatbot which will keep repeating the same
Yes.
language and you get frustrated and you just close the request, right? Without having an answer. That's where the real value emerges, where the AI become agentic, meaning it can reason, it can plan, it can take action on behalf of you. So for example, in a sales environment, AI agent might analyze the CRM data. It can identify the risk associated with the customer account. It can generate a concise summary and it can draft a personalized follow-up email and create the task for the sales team. So instead of just answering the question, the AI become the part of the workflow. This is the second lesson which I have learned. Last but not the least, I would say the third lesson is about trust and governance. Okay, it's very critical with generative and agentic AI because we are putting all our data out there. So when AI systems are generating insights or even triggering actions, organization needs strong guardrails which include the explainability that should have HITL reviews. Human in the loop is very important where necessary, and continuous monitoring of output is happening. And trust is what gonna ultimately drive the adoption. So many organizations build one pilot for sales, another for customer service, another for operation. But at scale, you need a shared AI platform, something that can manage the LLM orchestration, that can manage the entire use case end to end, and any new use case can come, it can be built much more faster and consistently. So I would say ultimately the organization that succeed with generative AI won't be the one that build the most demos. They will be the one that turn those experiment into trusted AI systems that can operate alongside human every day.
Now we'll talk a bit about responsible AI and governance, which are the key themes in your work as well. So, how do you embed trust, risk management, and ethics into AI programs without slowing innovation?
Okay, that's a very important topic, I would say, because AI is becoming very powerful day by day, especially with generative AI and agentic system. The question is no longer just what AI can do, right? Because right now AI is doing everything, but what AI should do and how we can ensure that it is behaving responsibly. I can see people putting all their sensitive information on Chat GPT and Gemini, right?
Yes.
Without thinking how it gonna consume it. So one thing which I have learned over time is that responsible AI should not be treated as a separate compliance exercise. Like even in the industry I have worked so far, they make the governance of the data as a last stage. Once everything is ready, they say that, oh, now we have to assure that there is data in compliance. But if governance is introduced too late, it's not gonna just slow down the innovation. The most important fact that it's gonna put trust and data at risk. So the goal is to embed trust and governance directly into the AI development lifecycle. So one principle which I often emphasize is something I call guardrails, not roadblocks. So generally people, avoid to use the guardrail because that requires a lot of approval, and they say that, hey, it is a roadblock that's it was causing the impacting the deliverable timelines, right? So in other words, governance should guide the innovation rather than restrict it. So, for example, when we build generative AI systems which are powered by LLMs, one of the first steps that we ensure that model outputs are grounded in trusted enterprise data, and the techniques like RAGs, which help in ensuring that the responses are generated by the model, they are traceable to verify the sources rather than purely generated text. So this not only improve the accuracy, but it also makes it easier for the user to understand where the information is coming from, whether I should trust on the information or not. Another critical area is transparency and explainability. So with modern AI system, especially LLM, user doesn't know how the GPTs or Gemini is even answering their questions, right? They are enjoying the conversation by feeding all their sensitive information. But user need to understand why a recommendation was made. That's why we designed a system that provide context, where you're summarizing the reasoning behind an insight or highlighting the data sources that can inform the response. And then there is continuous learning. So this become even more important, Rishikesh, when agentic AI system are getting introduced, where AI agent can trigger the action across the workflow. But the perhaps the most important element of responsible AI is organization culture. We talk about the governance and protocol, but technology alone cannot guarantee the ethical AI. That's why it's very important. Teams needs to be trained to think about fairness, bias, privacy, and societal impact when designing those systems. So responsible AI become part of how the team thinks, not just something they check at the end of the project. So instead, it becomes an enabler of trust, which ultimately allowed the organization to scale AI more confidently and responsibly. So that in the long run, trust can determine whether AI can truly embed in how businesses and our societies are operating nowadays.
Right. And as per your experience, like what skills will define high performing AI organizations over the next few years? And how should enterprises start preparing today?
Okay. So that's a very fascinating question because the definition of high performing AI organization is evolving very quickly. So, if I talk about just my journey, right? 5 years ago, if you would have asked this question, the answer would be probably we should have focused on hiring more data scientists so that they can build stronger machine learning models, right?
Yeah.
But today, with the rise of large language models, generative AI, and agentic system, the skill set required for an AI organization is much broader. So the first capability that will define a successful organization, which I would call AI engineering and platform thinking. So modern AI systems are no longer just models, right? They are complex data pipelines, model orchestration, LLM frameworks that can evaluate those pipeline and governance layer, so that organization need the team that can build those scalable AI platform rather than one of model or experiments.
Yeah.
So that is one of the skill. The second skill I can tell you is the AI product thinking. And this I have been telling on different platforms as well. AI product thinking is very critical skill. So AI solution, whatever we are building, will only create value when you know how people gonna utilize that solution. So that's where the organization needs leaders and team who can translate those AI capabilities into real products. Things like co-pilot for employees, AI assistant for customer, or autonomous agent that can automate the workflow end to end. So this requires a blend of technical expertise and business understanding. And now I have covered AI product, I have covered data engineering. The third capability is the data strategy and knowledge management. Because one of the biggest realization I have in the generative AI
That should be
era.
the first one, I think.
It should be, but the reason I'm telling it is that because model are becoming increasingly commoditized, right? And you will have the data strategy once the data is prepared by the data engineers, and AI product will have this strategy. Then you will create the knowledge management. Yeah, this is still, if you ask me, they all are on the same ground. Like it's not like who is which is better than the rest other. So again, I would say what differentiate organization is their proprietary data and knowledge, right? So the companies that invest in organizing their enterprise knowledge, the documents, the operational data, it should make it accessible to AI system or will have a significant knowledge. So for that, data strategy and knowledge management is a capability which you should develop. The fourth skill, I would say it's not a skill which gonna you can learn from any website or which will have any course. It's something which you have to integrate in your mind, which is human AI collaboration design. So the most powerful AI system are not replacing people. Okay, they are augmenting them. I keep telling people AI is something which can enable the people to do their jobs better. So organization need designers, they need product leaders, they need domain expert who can understand how to create workforce where human and AI can work effectively, right? So finally, I would say there is a capability which often get overlooked but is becoming increasingly critical is the responsible AI leadership, which we just talked about as well. So if we invest on all these skills, I would say in the next few years, the organization that succeed will not be the one which be the one with the most advanced model, but they are the ones who know how to integrate AI deeply into the way how their people think, work, and make decisions.
That is a very critical section because that is where most of the organizations have failed digital transformation projects as well. Somebody will come from the top, will implement something, and that will not sync up with how the people take decisions. Like Pallavi, when you look back at your journey, like right from being a data scientist to an enterprise AI leader, what mindset shifts were most important, and what advice would you give leaders aspiring to build an AI first organization?
So I would say that's a question I reflect on quite often because I see a lot of DMs in my LinkedIn where people say that, hey, I want to start my data science journey, how I can do it. Hey, you are doing good. How I can just start getting a salary 60K per month directly by using AI. So I always say that for me, my journey has started from being a data scientist to leading a enterprise AI initiative. It requires altogether a different way of thinking. So if I just take my example, early in my career, like many people in the AI field, I was just focused on building models and algorithm. I was always learning new sort of technology and stats. Because for me at that time, success was just means building the model that were more accurate, more sophisticated, or technically elegant, which I can present to the leadership, right? But over time, what I have realized, which is something very important, that the most sophisticated model does not necessarily create the most value. The real impact comes when AI changes how decisions are made in an organization. So, one of the biggest mindset shift for me was moving from model thinking to impact thinking, right? So, instead of asking what algorithm should be built, the question became what business decisions we should try to improve and how will AI change the way people can think, right? So that requires a much broader perspective. Another mindset is that understanding the importance of communication and storytelling. So as AI leader, we often sit at the intersection of technology and business strategy. That means it is very important for us to translate those complex technical concepts into ideas that business leader can understand and act on. Because AI adoption doesn't happen just because the technology exists and everybody's talking about AI, right?
Right.
It happens when people see the impact with their own eyes, when people are involved in the process. Perhaps the most important shift was realizing that AI transformation is fundamentally about people and culture. So technology can enable that change, but the organization where people adopt new ways of working is something is the real changes happening. So for leaders, I always say who wants to build AI first organization, I always share few pieces of advice. First, focus on real business problem rather than technology trends. Second, invest in data foundation and knowledge infrastructure because that's what gonna make your AI system truly valuable. And third, and the most important aspect, build the team that can combine those technical expertise with your domain knowledge. Finally, you want to create a culture where experimentation is encouraged, but always tied to meaningful outcome, because the future of AI is not just about smarter algorithms. It's
Yes.
about building the organization where human and intelligent system can collaborate to make faster and intelligent decisions.
Thank you so much, Pallavi, for sharing all these insights with our audience. So thank you so much for having, explaining these things and so relevant examples and such layman terms. And we look forward to hosting you again, Pallavi, maybe on a different set of topics. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you again for having me. I really enjoyed the conversation. I have been following your channel for a while, and I think you are doing a fantastic job in bringing the amazing industry leader and having those thoughtful discussion like this. And it is always exciting to talk about how AI is evolving and what is the impact it is going to have across different industries. So I'm looking forward to see how organization gonna continue to innovate responsibly while unlocking the real value of AI. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pallavi.